Welcome back to JOJ. It is March 13th. We hope you caught our live last week. It was a couple days later, just because we attempted doing Instagram.
We really did. We thought it was going to work.
Yeah, we did it to where nobody could see it, and we both were on there, both of our faces. And then when we tried to do it live, it did not work.
Our Instagram test was flawless.
Yes,
our Instagram actual was no good.
It was a disaster.
Which I think it maybe I didn't have good enough service. I was at the tournament in Alabama, stage 3 down there, and yeah, I thankfully made the championship, but that kept me going. Unable to do JOJ live, and our service, as we tried it, was terrible. So
today we're going to start with talking about Christ's example, and do you want to do the definition or the Bible verse first? Let's do
the definition, and then we'll jump into our verses. So definition of example. We almost forgot to do the definition part. It's a noun, a thing characteristic of its kind, or illustrating a general rule.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that's the definition of example.
All right, and the Bible verse that we're going to use is John 13:15-16. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly, I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him.
And also 1 Peter 2:21. Yeah.
Thought I was good with that one.
Yeah. To this you were called, because Christ suffered for you, leaving you an example that you should follow in his steps. And that first verse in John, that was actually Jesus speaking to his disciples right after he had washed their feet. All throughout the Bible, and I think we especially look at the New Testament and us, referring to Christ's example of his time here on earth. We look at his life and how he lived, from the time he was born all the way through to his crucifixion and then his resurrection. If you just look to him and look at his life, he was the best example that there ever was, ever has been, and ever will be.
Yep.
On this earth, and that's something that I think is, as Christians, it's what our desire should be to live, is to look at his life and to do our best to imitate it.
Because even and like you said in that Bible verse where he had just got done washing his disciples' feet, I think a lot of times, people consider themselves higher or better than, and so by Jesus coming in and being, the greatest that there is, and comes in and scrubs their feet, that's, him just being humble of, I'm no better than you are, but, which I think in hindsight we can all strive to be. I don't think I've washed anybody's feet ever. I mean,
no, you've never
kids.
washed mine.
No.
I
like to get a pedicure, but
I do enjoy a good pedicure. No doubt about it. And that's it is, and I think the example he showed was washing the washing of the feet in this particular situation. But there's so many things we can do to serve others. You don't have to wash feet. I get it. Some people really hate feet.
Yeah.
Andy Montgomery's one of those people. but
I would love to see the day that Andy washed your feet.
That would be pretty
That'd
funny.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't have to wash people's feet in order to serve one another. There's so many different things that we can do, for believers, for non-believers, to show our love for them, to show, to be that, to humble ourselves in that way. And that's the world. That's not a natural thing for us to humble ourselves. It's not at all. The world tells us to do the exact opposite of that, to show people that you're better than them, to tell people that you're better than them.
And to put yourself first.
Absolutely.
That's very much a thing, is, putting yourself first and not worrying about others.
Yeah. It's all about number one. And that's all, that's what the world tells us to be concerned with, is to be concerned with yourself and set everything else aside, focus on yourself. And you hear that a lot in people who are like, getting whatever type of help or whatever it may be, that you need to take time and work on yourself. Man, I think a lot of times you actually grow and you're more refreshed when you're actually helping someone else. I know just a few of the things that I've done, whether it's through deacon stuff at church or whatever, where we've went and served people in any capacity. As easy as some of it was, I'm the one who was blessed in that 100% of the time. I mean, it's the joy you get in helping somebody else is so wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that, last month we talked a little bit about, gosh, what was our word last month? Obedience, right?
Obedience.
And so kind of like it made me think of, I think we had said somewhere in there, kind of challenged, like what's one thing you can be more obedient in, like whether it was something small, something large, just, something you wanted to set aside. And so I think even with example, like we can do that as well. So like we have, the many examples that Christ has laid out for us in the Bible. So just kind of as you go through your week this week, what's one small thing you can do to mimic, something that Christ did, whether it's just, humbling yourself or serving somebody or just, trying to, guide somebody or lead somebody, just kind of one thing that you can do to, use Christ as your example. Yeah,
to take time out of your day to make a difference in somebody else's life, no doubt about it. Something that came to mind talking about that, at this last event, and then I think back to last year, and then it's funny that to me that they're always tied to tournaments that I typically had a good tournament in. At this one of my fellow competitors, on a practice day, he called me and he was having some boat problems, and I wasn't far away. But I mean, I think it might have surprised him a little bit that I dropped what I was doing on practice and immediately ran back, to try to help him. I mean, he's a good friend. We don't room together or anything, but he's a good friend. I immediately, went back and tried to help him at a tournament last year, Lake Champlain. On both days of practice, I had to tow somebody in. Just somebody I saw out there on the water. I could tell that something was going on. Stopped and lent a hand, and it's just things that you do if you're just little things like that. I mean, I don't even think anything of that, and I'm not telling that to try to get any acknowledgement for it. But it's just when we do things for others, we don't think too highly of ourselves. Of hey, I've got too much going on. I don't have time to deal with this distraction. My time's limited, whatever. That ties right in, I feel like, to those verses. Jesus' timing, Christ's timing was perfect in everything, obviously, because he was perfect in everything he did. But his example to us as well was definitely perfect. So to close it back out with those verses one more time, John 13:15-16 says, I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him.
And the second one is 1 Peter 2:21. To this you were called because Christ suffered for you, leaving you an example that you should follow in his steps. So we'll be back next week, March 20th. I'll be a year older.
Jennie's birthday.
First day of spring is really what's exciting about that.
No, it's your birthday.
No, spring.
It's exciting. Yeah. See y'all then.